Hey cats, what's happening? It's a beautiful day. Beautiful morning. Get a little reprieve in the weather. I mean, our weather here in Ohio has been extremely hot, up in the 90s, and miserable to be out. And if you're running an air cooled machine, it never never fares well, especially if you're in traffic. But it's cooler today. It's in the 70s, so it's a good day to ride. I think I'm going to enjoy this day a little bit and get out on the road. Monday. It's a Monday. Which for me, being retired, it's just another day. And in fact, a lot of times I have to ask myself, what day is it? And Mondays, I always know it's Monday because I got to get up really early on Monday and I got to take my trash down to the road. If I put it out the night before, the raccoons get into it and dump it all over the place. So I just get up early Monday morning, throw it in the back of the truck, run it down the driveway, drop it off, and then back up to the house. Anyway, being yesterday was Sunday. Sundays I like to try to keep holy. The Bible tells us to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. And, I of course, there's always the basic chores that need to be done. There's things that you have to do. Back when I was employed, I had no choice. I had to work on Sundays quite often as I was scheduled. But here in my retirement, I tend to put off the hard labor on Sunday and just try to take it easy. So yesterday being Sunday, I went to the movies. Now, Val and I used to go to the movies, I wouldn't say frequently, but she liked going to the movies. She liked to sit at the very top, right under the projector window, the middle, very top seat. So yesterday I thought, well, I gotta keep the tradition. So I did. I went all the way to the top and sat right there under the projector window. Now, when you go to the movies, there's always the trailers, the ads that come on before the movie. And I timed them yesterday. It was almost 40 minutes of ads. It says the movie starts at like 4:20. Well, you get there at 4:20, the movie didn't start till almost 5 o'clock. Anyway, I should have that figured out by now, but I still don't. If it says the movie starts at 4:20, that's when I try to get there. I grabbed my popcorn, a water, and sure enough, the trailers come on. Well, the very first trailer that came on just kind of blew my mind. It was an ad for gay pride. And not only was it an ad for gay pride, but it was an ad for black gay pride. So, two things bothered me about this right away. I thought, why do they need to advertise gay pride, number one? Because gay is a sexual preference. I don't need to advertise my sexual preference, and I don't think anybody else does either, and especially in a social platform. And the other thing is when they made it specific for blacks, then to me it became a racial thing. Like why does it have to be about race? Why does everything have to be about race? That it irked me, It just really bothered me, and it bothered me that they would put something like that in the movie theater. Nowadays, none of that stuff surprises me. I mean, the way this world is going, it's spinning out of control. They had another ad on, it was actually a movie trailer, to be released on Christmas, of all things. Christmas, which is the day we celebrate the Lord's birth, right? This movie was a demonic horror movie about, demons. And they're going to release that on Christmas Day. Just another. Whew, our world is going right down the drain. And I don't know how people don't see that. They just let it happen. And they think it's okay. I don't know. Anyway, the movie was called The Bike Riders. And I don't know, you may have seen the trailers for it. Maybe you went and saw it. Uh, it's a movie about a motorcycle club. The story, I'm not gonna give you the spoiler, but the story, as it's told by one of the biker's girlfriends, kind of relates from the very inception of the club all the way up through. I don't know if I'd call it its demise, but how things escalated and escalated very quickly. The story reminded me an awful lot of some of my experiences in the biker culture, and it was interesting to see how it was played out in this movie by a group of guys in Chicago that started their own motorcycle club. And it was taking place back, I think, in the early 70s when all of the, as the movie portrayed this. So it was, it kind of hit home with me. I mean, I started out riding in the dirt and hanging out with my buddies that rode in the dirt, going to the races and things of that nature. And at one point, I even started my own little club. We had about 6 guys that we'd go out riding. We didn't have patches or anything like that, but it was fun nonetheless. And as time progressed, I was able to continue to associate myself with more and more bikers, and eventually ended up actually riding with some MC clubs. One in particular that I rode with, and I was never a patched member, but I was just kind of a hang around, I guess. They wanted me to patch, but I never did. For some reason, I procrastinated on that kind of a membership. No regrets. I just kind of kept moving around. But one of the things about that culture was, this premonition that there's this brotherhood, and the same thing happened to me. I mean, I knew these guys. They were, we had so much fun together, hanging out. The brotherhood, the union of, and the enjoyment of sharing the same love for riding motorcycles. For those of you that don't ride a motorcycle, it's hard to explain, but there's just something special about it that comes with riding the motorcycle. It's an expression of freedom in a way. I mean, going out and feeling that machine underneath you that pulls you down the road and the wind in your face. It's almost like a sense of flying in a way. And, you just, all your senses become alive. You feel the wind, you feel the rain, you feel the sun on you. You smell the fresh cut hay. You smell the roadkill. I mean, it's all out there. And it's just an enjoyment that can't be replaced by anything else. It's really something unique, and it's an experience to share that with other people too, in that group. As time goes on, though, that brotherhood sometimes wears thin. And what I mean by that is that, there's chest butting. Somebody always had, there's that testosterone. Everybody wants to pretend they're tougher than the next guy. You gotta show your hardness, your toughness. And that ends up with, like I said, chest butting, fighting, drama, high drama, falling out, fighting. I mean, things that aren't really that fun and can leave you pretty upset, stressed out. So yeah, I understood all of that and how it works. Now, here's the interesting thing about the club too. It starts out with just a handful of guys. And I don't know what it is about that group of guys, but it attracts others like flies. The next guy comes in, hey man, can I join your group? I want to be part of that too. And it continues to grow. And I mean, you get guys that walk in there that just act like they walk right in and they just pretend they're already part of it, even though they weren't even invited, or and you start to wonder and think, what's going on here? And it continues to grow and grow and grow, and you become a bigger group of guys until it starts to get out of control. It's like, I don't even want to do this anymore, because now, we're getting older, and these young guys start coming in. They want to be in the club, but they got a lot more testosterone. They're going to shove their chest around a little more. They're going to act tougher. They want to really show off and let everybody know that they're nobody to mess with. And then it's not fun anymore. You start to ask yourself, what am I in this for? This isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I thought it was to begin with. I mean, it was just all fun and games at first, just a bunch of guys just going out having fun riding, and now it's grown on. So I don't even know some of these guys in the group anymore. I don't even know who they are. I've never met them before, and how did they get to be a member? Where did they come from? So eventually, you get to the point where you just drop out. You just walk away. You say, I've had enough. I'm not going to do it. Now, unfortunately, there are those clubs, there are those organizations that will tell you that, no, once you're in, you're always in. And I still get that. I still run into guys that I was associated with that still consider me part of that group. And they always will, even though I consider myself disassociated from it at this point. According to them, I'm still in. So it's a strange world. But there is one thing about riding with a group. Now, if you're with a group of guys that know how to ride, now I'm not talking about just a Sunday poker run where you have all kinds of yahoos out there that novice riders or hot doggers that want to show off. But guys that guys that know how to ride, and guys that know how to stay in their lane, and they know the hand signals. There's something powerful about riding with a group of cool guys. It's enlightening. It's lifting. It's a pleasure. And that I like, that I enjoy, and that I will still do whenever I have the opportunity. But again, riding with a group of strangers that you don't know their riding habits, you realize right away that some of them aren't that great of riders. Uh, it can be a little different. It can be stressful. It can be dangerous, and it takes the enjoyment out of the ride. So back to the movie, The Bike Riders. Uh, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of strange how the story was told through the girlfriend's way of looking at things. But you know, the story was played out in with the characters, and it could have been a real story. I mean, it was based on real events, real things. But the interesting thing was how the organization started from the very inception of guys that were friends, guys that were, you know, liked to ride. They all had the same thing in common, and they wanted to start a group. They wanted to start a club, a motorcycle club. And then it was interesting how that club grew out of control so quickly. You know, it just exploded. Everybody wanted to be in that club. There was just something about it that macho charisma that everybody wanted. You know, like, ooh, I want to be part of that. And it got to the point where it was almost out of control because, like I said, with the culture that I was involved in, there was people that were coming in that, you know, like I said, you get these new young kids coming in there, and some of them, they're not seeing it from the same eyes that we saw it from our entry into that world. They're seeing us, and they want to automatically be like us, although they don't have the experience. So they're going to puff up their chest, and they're going to walk in there like they're ready to kick butt. And they kind of lose the whole concept of what it was really supposed to be. The facts are today that the guys that I initially started to ride with, some of them don't ride anymore. They just came to the conclusion that their number was up. They didn't want to. They didn't want to continue to ride. I guess they had that fear that it was dangerous. That eventually something might happen. And you know, I got a family now. I got kids, and I don't want to risk that. So they just quit riding. They didn't. They don't even have a motorcycle anymore. They talk about it. They say, yeah, someday I'm going to get another bike. You know, maybe when the kids grow up or whatever. Some of the guys that I used to ride with can't ride anymore. You know, they got physical conditions that prevent them from being able to ride. There are those few that have physical disabilities that still ride. They won't give it up, you know. They'll do everything they can. If they have to have modifications done to their bike or they have to ride a trike now, they do what you got to do. And then there's those that I used to ride with that are gone. They've passed on. A number of guys that I used to ride with are no longer with us. So, as I continue to age, my numbers continue to drop, and the new ones keep coming up. You know, we're of a different culture, I think. The kids nowadays, I can't really go out riding with them. I mean, I can, but it's just a whole different. It's a whole different scene, and it's not what I have been accustomed to. Anyway, guys, that's it for the motorcycle. Well, one more thing. I got a delivery today. Something I should have done a long time ago. The cell phone holder for my bike. Yeah, I'll see how this works. I don't know. It might be kind of cheesy. It was only $10. I bought it online. I think this is the clamp that goes on the handlebar. And then there's a little ball pivot on there which snaps into here. Well, I'm going to have to play with it and see where I'm going to put it on my handlebars, but that way I can mount my cell phone up there where I can see it, and I can use my GPS if I need to. So, cool. Give me something to do for a few minutes before I take off, and maybe I'll use it today. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Well, it's nice and cool this morning. The grass is a little wet from rain that we had last night, so the garden is watered. We'll go out and take a look at the garden and see how it's doing. I had to tie up my eggplant and my peppers. You see, I put rope on both sides of them because they were getting so heavy they were falling over. So I had to prop those up. I did that yesterday, dodging the raindrops. My zucchini are doing extremely well. I've been actually picking zucchini every day. That's a good size. I mean, that's the size you'd buy in the grocery store. There's more down there that need picked. Squash isn't coming on as quickly, but I have been picking some squash too. I see lots of blossoms down in there though. Tomatoes are sporting new green tomatoes, so it won't be long and some of them will be getting ripe. I'm looking forward to some fresh tomatoes. These hillbillies are starting to get nice and plump, so garden's doing well. Somebody asked me, said, how do you keep your garden so clean, free of weeds? Well, I've tilled it, and I also get down and pull weeds. But you have to weed out here practically every day. I mean, these weeds pop up overnight. This is called purslane. It's almost like a rubber plant. It's real thick and a lot of water in it. But they grow overnight. They're just crazy. Add to the pile. If you guys lived closer, I'd say come on over and get zucchini. I can't give that stuff away fast enough. A purple coneflower is doing very well. Oh, you always got to pull weeds. You just have to. I mean, I could sit out here all day and pull weeds, but anyway. My zinnias are doing very well. They're starting to fill in, looking really pretty. My lavender, it's coming. Yeah, you got some little lavender blossoms there. I love the smell of lavender. Everything else is starting to come on though. Those will all be black-eyed Susans over there in a little bit. Beautiful. I love summertime. I love when everything turns green. I have some purple loosestrife starting to bloom here. My hostas are blooming over here. The birds are all singing. Everybody's happy. Everything's plush and green. Now you'd think things would start to die off with that heat we had last week, but Everything looks pretty healthy right now. The one thing I do have going on, though, that's been really bugging me, and I've been battling it, this is a magnolia tree, and it's been suffering greatly. You look at the iris leaves here, and you see the black stuff on them. That's like bug poop. And what I'm looking at, let's see if I can find it. These white things are actually an insect infestation, and they suck the life out of my tree. So I have to find the right thing to put on them. Now, I've been spraying it with different stuff, but I've been spraying it with the wrong stuff. And you know what happens is eventually that kills the branches and they suffer. But you see, everywhere you look, you'll see that white, it almost looks like a little white fuzzball on there, attached right to the stem. And if I rub my finger on it, the white stuff comes off, but it's like a little shell underneath. So the insect has a shell that like clamps onto the branch, and they suck the juice from the tree. And so this thing has been struggling, and they poop all over the iris there. So I do have I did a lot more research on this stuff, and I did find there is a spray available that I can get, and I'm probably going to pick that up and go with that. My crow is sitting up in the tree asking me if I have any scraps for him today. I got nothing for you. I cleaned out the refrigerator yesterday. I gave you a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, he's not happy. He says it's got to be every day, buddy. Well, cats, thanks for joining me. I'm going to saddle up and head out for a little while anyway. I hope you enjoy the day. I hope you're all doing well. My prayers go out to you guys. Thanks for watching. Give me the thumbs up if you haven't yet. Please subscribe. Until next time, ride hard and die free.